Yo guys, Zephyr. Just finished Final Fantasy 16 yesterday. Honestly, a very good game. I would give it a rating out of 8.5 out of 10. Honestly, there's some things that, I'd like to talk about because I like doing reviews and stuff. And yeah, my final rating of the game is 8.5. I'll talk about some of the things that I liked, some of the things I disliked, and some things that I thought were middle ground that aren't that important. Um, the cutscenes, obviously, in the game are extremely good. Like, extremely good. There's sometimes, um, some of the cutscenes have a lot of visual, you know, hindrance or visual, like, abruption. What I mean by that is, like, there's a lot of stuff going on that it's hard to keep track of stuff. The story feels intriguing, very intriguing. For the most part, I think there are some things in the story that could be better. There's like those like quests, like side quests that you do that feel like very meaningless and have add almost nothing to the story. Like, oh, you're running an errand for the character and whatnot. But yeah, sometimes you're given those type of quests in the game, which is like it's whatever to me. It's not that big of a deal. I don't think it ruins the game. I just don't think it's that necessary to add stuff like that. But yeah, I think the cutscenes and the story feels extremely good. Combat feels smooth. If you're a fan of the new style that Final Fantasy has been going with, or Square Enix, that is, the fighting mechanics and the fighting system is a lot smoother. But yeah, the combat feels really smooth, especially with the automated jewelry. Sometimes it can hinder you in some places where the animation is too long, and like let's say sometimes an animation is too long or it's focused on a certain angle. If let's say if the enemy is behind me and my animation goes off, it doesn't get attacked. It sometimes you have some sway you can turn with your animations, but not always. Art obviously super good. Characters feel apart. None of them feel the same. Every character looks like their own character, like they could be in their own, like in their own type of game as a main, character. But yeah, every character looks amazing. The world feels, it doesn't feel bland. Everything feels different. You know, I probably would have liked a bit of a snow biome. I don't think there is much of a snow biome, if any. Um, we had sand, we had spring, whatever, summer, but winter is one of those elements that was missing in the game. But it's kind of hard to because with how the map is designed, and you'll know like once you play the game if you're looking to play the game. The large boss fights are fucking crazy. I shit you not. That's probably the best part of the game. Once you are introduced to your first large boss fight, and you'll know what I mean by large boss fight. I don't mean just a big boss with a HP bar. I mean like these bosses are big and you know, without spoiling too much, they're extremely fun and a dopamine powerhouse and extremely satisfying. Um, opening doors very satisfying with the your bumpers. R2 really fun. I like that. Breaking barricades. Instead of just attacking it, you can just use a quick time event by you know pressing it and then it opens it over a timer. I like that. Quick time events in the game are really fun, really engaging, in the heat of the moment. Very good. And also marked bosses, which is something you introduced into later on in the game. Very good. All right. That's pretty much everything I've written down um, for the good part, good and the best. Now middle ground is like some of the facial animations on the non cutscenes are like which is expected. You don't want to put too much effort into it, but it could be. The reason why I think that is because I think the game is originally made in Japanese, so they have to re-render and you know, switch some stuff in facial expressions to fit in with the language that is spoken. Um, Amulets, some of them feel like I feel like most of the amulets, look interesting, but I don't know. Some of them are good and some of them are bad. Um, I would preface that they would improve the visual clarity of chests. Sometimes they're really hard to see from afar, you know, because they're all the same color. Sometimes they change depending on zone, but pretty much from the beginning of the game, they're all like I would say 80% of them match to each other, and then there's some changes. Another thing I don't like is like you can't change your appearance. You have two presets. You have your initial, and then after you become, or after some sort of main story progression, you switch to the second preset, and that's pretty much all you have till you beat the game, and then you're back to what you started with. Um, I wrote sometimes you're able to see skills and attacks from monsters, and sometimes you can't see anything. Yeah, yeah, that's what I mean. Like sometimes the visual clarity is really bad, um, especially in cutscenes and even fighting. Like sometimes emo mechanics and attacks will go through, and you just can't see it. Luckily, the automated jewelry is you know, it helps you a lot. But yeah, that's pretty much everything I have for middle ground. I'm not you know too crazy with these reviews, but now for the bad part. Side quests are boring. You could put that into middle ground bad part. I think side quests are just really boring most of the time. It's just like here, go do this, low quest reward. You know, you get some sort of unlockable or whatever. I think there's only a few of them that are actually worth doing out of 70. I think there's only 10 of them that are worth doing from what I checked out. Visual mode has a strong performance hindrance on the PS5. I don't know if that's because I'm recapturing the game through a capture card. Like I have a capture card and my PC is really old, so it could be hindering its processes potentially. But I eventually switched over in the beginning, like really early on, like around level 10, I think. I switched from visual mode or even earlier potentially to frame rate mode, just better. I selected the difficulty selection is really poorly. Well, it's not even a difficulty selection. It says you can either go story focused or action focused. Story focused automates like it auto equips some items that you might not know about that are equipped, like the automated skill casting, and then action mode is like you do your own stuff. You're button mashing, you're spamming, and all this stuff. But yeah, I finished the game yesterday. Really good game. Honestly, every boss fight it hit a new pivotal moment of climax, and the final boss fight extremely, extremely, extremely fucking beautiful and intense. Like a very well developed boss fights. This is like what I expect when I hear the term boss fights, something that's very awesome you know um I would say the itemization part of the game is the most boring part. It's like, here, equip a weapon with 100 damage. Oh, equip a weapon with 120 damage. Oh, you can reinforce it and make it better from +1 to 2. It's 125 damage. Same thing applies to like the armor and the or not the armor, the belts. Yeah, I think you have belts, bracers, and then jewelry. But yeah, the itemization is very disappointing, I would say. Like obviously you have like gradings of stuff. Once you play the Final Fantasy mode in the game, after you beat your first playthrough and go to New Game Plus and you select Final Fantasy mode, you're able to actually see different colors. Instead of just seeing green and blue and purple, you go from green, blue, and purple to like orange, a dark red hue, like to, clarify grading of rarity types, or more valuable items. This applies to materials and everything. um I would say the vendor system is poorly done too. You can just buy like these Orchestron music note things, which allow you to play different type of music when you're in your hideout, or your main base. I think that's pretty much it. Gil is pretty useless in the game too. It's pretty much used for buying that. On my first playthrough, I never had to buy potions. I played a bit of the Final Fantasy mode. I didn't have to use potions yet. Um, yeah, the game does get a lot more difficult when you do get into the second playthrough. But yeah, Yeah, I already wrote. Upgrading gear via the blacksmith feels really boring. It's just really boring. It's just a really boring, collect, materials, upgrade this item using these set materials plus one, two, nothing interesting, no specific animation. It's just like a little noise and yeah. Uh, Talking about crates again, like that you loot, extremely boring, nothing crazy. You loot an item, you loot gil, you loot some materials. Just really boring. Could be done better. I think that's a problem with a lot of games. I've noticed is that there's so many chests. I feel like the chests should be way more hidden, or they should offer better stuff, or reduce the amount. There's like so many ways of doing it. I think the best way I've seen it so far is the way that God of War does it, where you collect Odin's apples and then you're able to increase your HP bar or your rage or your Spartan rage. I think that is. I think if I remember correctly, or even the older God of War games, like where you have crates, you have chests that contain mana, a mixture of stuff, life, or like souls. Um, I'm stating here another bad part is main quests feel like boring sometimes because of the side quest thing that you're running some sort of errands. I already said that. Gil is pretty useless, buying music and blacksmithing, I suppose. And yeah, I don't think the game is difficult at all. But yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. That's the Final Fantasy 16 review. 8.5, really great game. When I come back from Germany, I will probably play through the Final Fantasy mode and see how that turns out. And yeah, if you like the video or dislike the video, hit the like button or the dislike button, comment down below and let me know what you think about, my precursors or my opinions on all these sectors of the game. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Have a good day. Take care, and I'm out. Bye bye.